بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أما بعد. To continue in the study of تذكرة السامع والمتكلم of Ibn Jamaah rahimahullah, we're in the chapter in which he discusses the manners of the student with his teacher, and that the teacher he has a great right upon the student, which is obligatory upon the student that he gives him that right. So from the points he mentions is point number 2 here. He says that he should submit to a sheikh in his affairs, and he should not leave his opinion. Rather, he should be like the sick one with a doctor who is good, with a good doctor. Meaning, the good doctor, when a patient goes to him and asks him for medicine, he trusts his opinion that this medicine, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will be a cure for him. Similarly, the student should be such with the sheikh. He shouldn't oppose him. And other than that, whilst mentioning an important point here, that he doesn't blind follow though. Meaning, he asks for evidences and he looks at the different evidences, but he does not blind follow, but he accepts the opinion of the sheikh and does not blind follow. For as we mentioned before, that blind following is not allowed except if there's a necessity. Except if there's a necessity for it to be done, as we mentioned in our Usul al-Fiqh class. And then he says that he seeks his counsel in that which he intends, and he seeks his pleasure in that which he wants to do, and he goes into extremes in regards to his right, or he goes far in regards to his right, and he seeks nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with serving him, and he knows that lowering oneself to the sheikh is in reality izzun, an honor, and that submit to him is a honor as well, and also that humbling oneself to him is a rif'a, is a form of being raised. Now these points is important. You find many times that the scholars, they advise with certain texts that one should read, and for one who has a teacher who knows his level and understands what level he's at, or knows what he's memorized and what he knows of the different sciences, then in that case, when the sheikh he directs him to a certain book, he should accept it, for he knows the path that the student should take for that which he has of experience. And this is a mistake that many people they do. Example, if the teacher advises them at this point, you start with this book, he says, no, but my heart inclines to such and such book, I will start with that. And he ends up, due to that, not benefiting from the book that he intends. Because the teacher knows the situation well, knows the book that he's directing him to, that book is at his level, and you'll benefit from it. It says that Ash-Shafi'i rahimahullah used to be, they used to look down upon him due to him humbling himself to the scholars. So he said that I belittle myself, and they're the ones who honor it. And there is no soul that will be honored if it does not belittle itself in the beginning. And this narration is authentic to him. Meaning here that one lowers himself to the sheikh. He does not see himself to be higher than the sheikh or at the level of the sheikh. Rather, the way he's going to benefit, if he sees that the sheikh is higher level than him, and he knows that the sheikh, he understands and he'll benefit from him. But if he feels that he's at the level of the sheikh and he's higher than the sheikh, then how will he benefit from him? How will he benefit from him for that which he will constantly think is that he is equal or he is higher, and he won't benefit. Or even worse is that he looks at the sheikh as someone who doesn't know. Someone who doesn't know, then there's no benefit of sitting there in the first place, since you look down upon the one you're benefiting from. And it comes from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, was is known the status of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, that he used to hold the animal of Zayd ibn Thabit al-Ansar radiallahu anhu, and he would say that this is what we have been commanded with, this is how we've been commanded to act with our scholars. And it comes from, and this narration is authentic, and it comes Ahmed ibn Hanbal rahimahullah, Imam Ahmed, that he said to Khalaf al-Ahmar, that I would not sit except in front of you, under you, for we have been commanded to humble ourselves to those who we learn from. But this narration from Imam Ahmed is not authentic. Then he says, Al-Ghazali rahimahullah, he said that none will attain knowledge except with humbleness and paying attention. With humbleness and paying attention. And this is mentioned in his book Ihya Ulumuddin. As we mentioned before, that this book Ihya Ulumuddin is a book that the scholars are warned from. And some of them are called the Kharab al-Din, that it puts to waste the religion. And as mentioned that Al-Ghazali rahimahullah, he fell into many errors, and this book of his Ihya Ulumuddin is a book full of much falsehood and fabricated narrations and stuff which doesn't benefit an individual. But you'll find that the people of innovation, they hold this book highly. It's reported from Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyya that he said, or Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyya said that even Musa ibn Maymun from the Jews is at the status of Abi Hamid al-Ghazali from the Muslimin. They basically take different statements of the prophets and they mix it with statements of philosophy. Rahimahullah, Afallah, and they say he passed away Bukhari on his chest. May Allah forgive him for his sins. And then he says, وَمَهْمَا أَشَارَ عَلَيْهِ شَيْخُ, whenever the Shaykh indicates to him with a path to seek knowledge, he should blind follow that path. As I mentioned, blind following is not something which is right, but he should take the advice of the Shaykh. But as we mentioned, not to blind follow, as many evidences warning from blind following. And he should leave his opinion. He says, for the mistake of the one directing him is more beneficial than him being correct in his own self. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has indicated that in the story of Musa and Khadir, where Allah says, قَالَ إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِيَ صَبْرًا, when Khadir said, you will not be able to have patience with me. And this is, while it's known, the great status of Musa alayhi salam, the one whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke to, and the great status of Musa alayhi salam regarding his knowledge, whereas he was commanded, or whereas he was here, he was to be silent. Allah says in the Quran, فَلَا تَسْأَلْنِي عَنْ شَيْءٍ حَتَّى أُحْدِثَ لَكَ مِنْهُ ذِكْرًا. Khadir said to him, do not ask me anything until I inform you about it. So even if Musa alayhi salam, and I mentioned a benefit from Ibn Rajab rahimahullah, that he said if he said that the greatest of those who are not in need of traveling is like the likes of Musa, but yet he still traveled to gain knowledge. So imagine the rest of us. The great status of Musa alayhi salam, and he still traveled to gain knowledge. Imagine the rest of us. The next point he mentions is that he looks at his teacher with honor and exoneration, and he believes that he is complete and perfect. Now this statement, the second one, that he believes he's complete and perfect, this is from the extremism of some of the Sufis, whereas the teacher, at the end of the day, he's a human being. He is correct and he could be wrong, and he knows and he could be ignorant of certain affairs, but one should still hold him at a high status and look at him greatly, for he is learning under him. But that does not mean that he believes that he's completely perfect and doesn't have any mistakes. And this is where many people, they fall into mistake, where they feel that their teacher can never make a mistake. So if you were to oppose the statements of their teacher because it opposes evidences and texts from the Quran and the Sunnah, you'll find that he gets angry for the statement of his teacher due to him believing that his teacher is perfect and complete and cannot make mistakes. And this is wrong. He says, for that is closer to benefiting from him. He says, some of the Salaf, they will go to their teacher. If they were to go to their teacher, they would give sadaqah with something, and they say, Allahumma, oh Allah, hide from me the mistakes of my shaykh, and do not let the barakah, the blessing of his knowledge, leave from me. But as we mentioned, generally that the teacher, if it is known for him that he has knowledge of the religion, and he is one who has correct beliefs, and he is strong regarding his knowledge, that he is loved and he is honored and exonerated, but not to the extent of the Sufis, where they believe their teacher cannot make any mistakes. And then he said, Ash-Shafi'i rahimahullah, he said that I used to turn the page in front of Malik ibn Anas very slightly out of exoneration and fear from him, so that he does not hear the movement of the paper or the falling of the paper to the next page. Azay Qasim al-Rabi', he said that, Wallahi, I was not able to even drink water while Shafi was looking at me out of exoneration for him. And then he mentions that some of the children of Al-Khalifatul Mahdi, they attended the class of Sharik. Sharik was a scholar in Islam. He said that, so he went towards the wall and they asked him about a hadith. and Sharik did not turn toward him. He did not turn toward the son of the Khalifa. Then the son repeated. So similarly, Sharik did not even turn to him. So he said, are you trying to belittle the children of the Khulafa? He said, no. He said, but knowledge is great in the sight of Allah, then I put it to waste. And also been said that he said that knowledge is more beautiful in the sight of its people than that they put it to waste. Similarly, he says that is befitting that he should not speak to his teacher بِتَاءِ الْخِطَابِ وَكَافِرٍ. He did not say to the teacher Anta, or you don't say to him that سَمِعْتُكَ, that or كيف حالك, and like this. You don't say to your teacher with the kaf al-khitab and ta al-khitab and kafu, and the kaf of it, which basically means that the ta al-khitab, when you say anta, it means you. So example, the kaf as well, كيف حالك, means how are you. So these different pronouns that are used, the ta and the kaf, they mention that it's not from good manners to use that with the teacher. And he should not yell to him from far. But rather he should say, Ya Sayyidi, Ya Ustadi. As for the statement, Ya Sayyidi, Shaykh Abu Amr mentioned that this is not befitting. Rather it opposes the way of the Salaf al-Salih. But he should say stuff as, Ya Ustadi. Al-Khatib al-Baghdadi, rahimahullah, said that he should say, Ayyuha al-Alim, O scholar, Ayyuha al-Hafidh, O memorizer, and similar to that. What do you say regarding such and such? This is how we should interact with him. Or what is your opinion regarding such and such? And similar to that. And he should not mention his name while he is not present, except with a name that shows that he has honor for him. Such as Shaykh said, the Shaykh said, or the Ustad said, or our Shaykh said, or Hujjat al-Islam, or something that said. It's not befitting that your teacher, the one you learn from, that you belittle him and you do not show him honor. Whereas you'll find some of them, they say the Shaykh's name. For example, you find for some of them, they'll say like Al-Fawzan said. Astaghfirullah. Yes, at the end of it, he's a human being, but he's a scholar of Islam. Show that you have honor for him. Example, you say Shaykh Al-Fawzan said. If you were to just say Al-Fawzan said, or some other scholar like that said, the awam, the general folk, will feel like he is someone lowly. He is not someone that has high status. You find even the awam, with those who they take knowledge or those who they listen to, they honor them. They say, as Shaykh said, did you not hear the Shaykh say so? The Shaykh said such and such. So imagine the students of knowledge, when they speak about the scholars and they mention them when they are not present, they should use words of honor and show that they have great status. Example, you say, as Shaykh Al-Fawzan said, Allamatul Fawzan said. And like this, these are statements that one should use. You should not use statements that if one were to just say in front of the awam think that is someone that does not have high status. No. Rather, these are the scholars of Islam, and when we mention them, we should mention them with high status. And even more so if it is directly your teacher. You should have that kind of honor for him, where you mention him with high status, and you should not mention him as if he is someone who is not someone of great knowledge and high status. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has risen them. Allah says, يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ. Allah raises those who believe amongst you and those who have knowledge in levels. If Allah is raising them in levels and raising their name and their mention amongst the people, then as students and knowledge, we should also show them that honor and exoneration towards them, that they are teachers of Al-Islam, they are the scholars of Al-Islam, they are shuyukh, they are ulama, and we should not belittle them and mention them as if they are just like one of us, regular folk. So with this, inshallah, we'll stop for today and continue next week, inshallah. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.